G'day guys, it's Jake here. Nothing in this video is financial advice. Please do your own research when it comes to investing. Be sure to check out my links below, including exchanges I use and social media content that I post. Alright, let's go. So the topic for this video, we're talking about Bitcoin USD, okay? And just tracking where we are. Let's look at the price and levels currently, compare them against 2019. A similar sort of period and monetary policy, according to what the Fed were doing with the interest rates, and look at Bitcoin risk and other indicators, some Bitcoin support bands, and yeah, anything else we can come up with. So first up, we have the price currently. We're sitting at 60,600, right? So if you go on the daily, it looks a bit clear on the daily what happened. Especially yesterday and the day before that. Well, mostly the day before that was pretty crazy. The 8th of August was a pretty massive day for Bitcoin. We had from wick bottom to wick high, we had a 14.5% day on Bitcoin. Wow, it's a big, big day, okay? It's a massive pump coming off this level here. And I'll just draw her up. So you had here, touched here, touched. So this channel really acts as a good indication of price getting stuck, up and down. So you can see it's zigzagging up and down inside this channel. And these are perfect parallel lines. These aren't just drawn, each line. This is a perfect parallel channel, okay? As I'll show you here. See, I'll click on that and it highlights both, right? If I delete that, it's the whole thing. So it's a perfect parallel channel, just to show you that. And we've come back, we had this high here, which is around the Bitcoin conference. And I did say on a tweet that would come, might try and fake out here and won't break above this level. I couldn't see it breaking out, and that was pretty much the top. And I see it's coming back down to 61K and then see how we go from there. But I didn't expect it to drop so quickly to 49,500 actually, went below 51K support level, so drawn here, and it wicked, and then it came back up and closed with inside this channel, okay? And yeah, that was quite interesting how it did that, and it came back, would have liquidated a few people here who tried to long from this level, would have got rid of them, and anyone trying to long at this downward sloping parallel channel would have got wiped out, the longs, and now they're trying to wreck the shorts, trying to get them and liquidate them, grab their orders. It's what the market makers like to do. Typically with Bitcoin, people use leverage on it and they get wrecked, so don't use leverage, okay? So right now we are struggling to get above this 61, which is a half level, which I've drawn back here, and there, okay, and there. You're just coming back to it again. That's why I've drawn it there, and it's very, very noticeable where prices sort of bounced up and down to. This is on the daily, okay, and I like to look at the 3-day chart. Looks a bit clearer for me. Looks nice and neat, and it looks like we're retesting this level and wicked. We couldn't get above it. Went to 62.5. We couldn't break above. So I see this as short-term resistance, and we might stay up here for a bit, and then I see us rolling back over, and then heading back down. All right, to the 51K level is where I'm seeing it go back down, because we went back to it here. It made a lower low than this one. That low is lower than that one, okay? As you can see, lower than that one. And that low is lower than that one. And then you can just keep doing it, that is lower than that one. So you can clearly see that we are in a downtrend, all right? Making lower highs and lower lows. And this could be the lower high, and then eventually, once we break, come down to here. It could take time. Weekend's really, really quiet for the crypto market. Even though it's open 24/7, it's just not going to do much on the weekend. And I do see us coming down to 51K, which corresponds to this downward sloping line and this support line, which eventually will come back down to, because we didn't spend much time down there, only one day, and then it wicked back up. Didn't get enough time to accumulate enough orders. Okay, fill the orders. We only filled a few, and probably going to fill more. And eventually, probably by the end of the year, is what I'm seeing. Price eventually get down to 41K is my level to look out for, which is a very, very big accumulation level around the Bitcoin spot ETF, and also this upward sloping trend line, as you can see here. All right, and that's where I see it going to the end of the year. Righto, so that's that. I'll just get rid of the lines and all the drawings and all the crap. It's nice and neat. Okay, and 2019. All right, let's look at 2019. What happened? And the pattern's pretty similar. I'll draw a parallel channel. I'll show you why it looks very, very similar. Connect the lows, connect the highs. See this, we're in a channel, perfect channel. Okay, nothing fancy, even if you take it back to this high. I don't want to go too high up because it won't match. But if you really go from candle closes on the daily, right, which is very, 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 everyone looks at the daily. As you can see, first close here, up, down, up, down, up. So you can see making lower highs, lower lows, right? And I'll just draw this in the arrow. Might be a bit easy to see. You know, see down, up, down, up. Sort of zigged in the middle of it, okay? And then this mid-level, which is sort of support here. Okay, so if I show you that real quick, you know, we had a support level here, righto. I'll just put that in yellow. We had support and we didn't break it, so it's pretty much stayed sideways. We had to do like a bit of a triangle pattern sort of thing. You know what I mean? So it's like a triangle. Okay, and then eventually we broke this triangle. Aggressively, so this candle aggressively broke. And I'll just continue this down, and then we even lower to the bottom. Okay, we formed it here. Two touches forms a trend line. A third touch makes it very, very valid. And then we sort of chopped a bit, made it even lower, low, and then we went back up to the top. All right, this trend line again, and we failed to make a new high. So still a downtrend technically, and we went even lower, touched the trend line again. So pretty interesting. Okay. And if this was a soft landing, this would have been the bottom, and price did go higher, okay, before going down to the pandemic drop. Why am I comparing these two? Because, you know, not only these patterns are similar, the channel, okay, the two channels. I might go on the weekly, might be even better to see, just so I can emphasize my point. And on the logarithmic chart, so you had this channel up and down. As you can see, the weekly, it's very, very neat inside it, right? And same as what we're seeing now with price. And ultimately, yes, that's one factor you can look at. You know, get rid of some of these drawings, and I'll show you why I think ultimately why we're similar. Okay, is the Federal Reserve. Okay, this is what determines long-term price action moves, in my opinion, is interest rates. Okay, interest rates. So we had the first cut here. What happened to Bitcoin? It topped just before the first rate cut, right? The rate cut came, and that was it for Bitcoin. And rate cuts come. As you can see, price has declined, right? And the rate cuts coming because of why they cut rates, to do with the banking crisis. The repo market was panicking out, and after that repo crisis, that's why they were cutting rates. This is before the pandemic even started, so they were cutting in response to a banking crisis with overnight lending costs skyrocketing. The Fed had to step in and buy assets and bonds to stimulate that market, and they had to lend money to these banks. Anyway, a Bitcoin price went down, went flat, rallied up because it thought the cuts were over and the pain was done. But no, the pain was not done. The pandemic hit, and what happened to price? It just dropped like a rock. Okay, so we went even lower than this channel, and we went back to close to these lows. All right, very close. Look at it. It's probably not the best thing to see, but we did about there-ish. Okay, so 3,800. We didn't get to the bottom. We got around to this cluster of lows, and we ultimately came back down. Probably best to draw it, make it a bit more neater to show you when I go back to the other chart. It was around So this level and there. Okay, so we came back to these lows eventually. So we thought we're out of this rut, and it was all over. Never see these lows ever again. But the wick down to them signal that it wasn't over, but short-lived. Bang, and back up to the races. Okay, but this pattern was because of the rate cuts and what the Fed was responding to. Now we go to current levels, and they haven't even cut rates yet. Okay, so I'm expecting them to cut around September, around this period, mid-September, 16th of September, 18th of September, I think the actual date. But anyway, mid-September, should see a rate cut. It could be really big. I don't know how big the cuts are going to be, to be honest. We'll see how big they get. If you zoom out, I can't really state the severity of the cuts. It could be 50 basis points, which is what they're predicting. Whatever happens, it can be a cut, okay? Makes a little orange. And when that comes, that'll be the top, okay? And then we should go lower, as I drew before. And that will be the short-term resistance. Showing the 3-day a bit clearer. And price ultimately break down, okay? And make its way down by the end of the year to, this is just rough approximations, to 41,000, and could go to the mid-30s as well, okay? But 41,000 is what I'm seeing as the base case, and worst case is around the mid-30s. Reason is, I'll show you why. I'll show you on a different Bitcoin chart so it's a bit clearer. Get rid of interest rates. So we made that point there, the interest rates. And I'll show you on the Bitcoin risk why I think this is very likely to occur. And it's on logarithmic, beautiful. Which I'll make you turn the values up. Red performance mode, turn that off. And we'll see nice and clearly even on the weekly a bit better. As you can see, we're inside this channel. This is the Bitcoin risk metric, free indicator. Very good. And we trade up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Nearly touch the top, and we touch the bottom. So it's pretty reliable. And the bottom here is around 30,000. And if you go to the end of the year, into always does that. All right, there. You see this will rise over time. All right, this is the bottom. This is the zero level, which is currently is 30,800, which is what that level is there. And if you do rise on the same trajectory as we're going, and you just sort of draw it out a bit more clearly. It's not exact. It's rough approximations. We get the mid-50s, so 30, 35K, as you can see there. Okay, let's make it clearer. Keeps doing it. So around 35K, right? If price makes its way down there. If price does make its way down to the bottom by the end of the year, it's possible, okay? And yeah, this would be the very bearish case because we really haven't closed below it. So you can see there we didn't close below it in 2022. 2020, even that bad pandemic crash, we couldn't even close a candle on the weekly below it. We did go a little bit below it, okay, as you can see there. And then this is a pretty bad one in 2015, but we never closed below it. But then if you go back even further, we actually were below it, but you can't really see the steepness of this curve very clearly. But this was a very, very new asset then. It was only just getting established, so you can give it a break there. Okay, you can say, oh, what happened here? But this is the very early stages of Bitcoin. So this was developed not long after. This indicator was 2010. This goes back, doesn't go back as far. And if you excuse that, because it's a very, very small asset, see how weird the price action was? It gapped, and it's very weird, very, very volatile. Now it's an established asset. You can see how closely it follows this channel, these bands, and I don't see it breaking it. If we do wick below it, we can wick to 30K, okay? We could wick and then come back higher. Right, that could happen. Could happen in the next year. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have a crystal ball. That is something you look out for. Okay, so that's that one. And we're currently at 40 risk as it reads there. So that is that. And we'll just show you the bull market support bands and where we are there, especially on the weekly basic closing. And we are below the 20-week EMA. Okay, so right on this support line, resistance line, and we need to break above that and then the top one as well, which is the SMA, to confirm that we're out of this rut. Okay, so if you do see something like it's not working, break above there, retest, and then break higher. Okay, it's how the price moves. And we can see, a left translated cycle, but that needs to break this EMA. This is where I'm seeing it, as it did back here. We did find resistance there, as you can see, in 2023, the summer, found resistance, and then ultimately we broke above it. All right, and we tested support there. Okay, so it works pretty well. It does have false breakouts like this does in 2022. It had a false breakout, so that does occur as well. But yeah, so it trades below it. We're bearish until we break above this red one, and then durably breaks, and then comes back and retests it, as you can see there, and then continues higher. So that's just what I'm seeing for Bitcoin price, and that is pretty well it. All right, guys, I'll keep it there. Hope you enjoyed this video, just going over my Bitcoin price predictions at the end of the year, showing you the comparison to 2019 in regards to the monetary environment. We had rate cuts from the Fed in response to a banking crisis back then, and then the pandemic hit, and that just further exacerbated the cuts, which were just big aggressive cuts, and rates went to zero, essentially, and Bitcoin just shot right down back to 2018 lows and revisited that level. I don't see us revisiting to 2022 lows to get that bad, but I do see us going down to the bottom risk level of zero. Okay, risk as a very bad worst case scenario, which is around the mid 30s into the end of the year or next year. Okay, but definitely 41K by the end of the year is my definite approximation. And if things get worse into next year, I do see us, if we do wick below that zero risk level, we can go to the early 30s before wicking back up and then continuing higher. Okay, depending on this recession and severity of it, how bad it gets, and the failures, the banks or businesses, the consumer, the unemployment rate, there's all the other factors as well you have to consider, which will come into this recession. But it's depending on how many and how bad. Okay, severity, like I said. I looked at the Bitcoin support band, bull market support band, and we need to break above this EMA and SMA durably to break up and continue higher into the left translated cycle, as everyone wants to see. 100K Bitcoin by the end of the year. Yay. I don't see it. But anyway, that's that. And yeah, just seeing how we're tracking, very similar to 2019, as I mentioned, and the risk levels and my predictions, and that is that. If you like this video, please smash the like, comment your thoughts below, subscribe to stay updated. Please be sure to check out the links below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.